Frank, you have to read this. This guy on LinkedIn literally just suggested using your 94-year-old grandma who has a month to live as a tax shell company.
Wait, what? A shell company? Is that even legal?
Apparently, but it is wild. We are definitely unpacking this later. But first, I'm Lynn.
And I'm Frank. Welcome to Talk and Wonder. We create easy-to-understand whiteboard animations covering family finance, investing, passive income, and debt management. Our goal is to break down complex financial topics, help you avoid traps, and build wealth together. If you want to secure your future, you are exactly in the right place.
Okay, so before we get to the grandma tax evasion...
Tax strategy, honey.
Right, strategy. Let's talk about the big picture first. We've been looking at this $1.3 million portfolio model.
Yeah, between the passive income and the growth funds. And the number one rule here isn't about, picking the next hot tech stock. It's about, building a compounding machine.
Which sounds amazing, but what does that actually mean for normal families? Because honestly, when the market drops, it feels less like a compounding machine and more like a casino.
Exactly, and that's where the biggest mistake happens. People treat it like a casino out of FOMO. But managing a family's money, look, think of it like being an airplane pilot.
Okay, I'm listening.
Seriously, imagine you're flying on a plane and an engine goes out, or you hit a massive storm. You do not want a pilot who starts freaking out and screaming, right?
Oh, God, no. You want them completely cold and calculating.
Right. They follow the SOP, the standard operating procedure. They stay disciplined. But when it comes to family portfolios, the market drops like 5% and people absolutely panic sell everything.
I mean, we've been there. Remember when our tech stocks tanked a few years ago? I literally wanted to cash out and just hide the money under a mattress.
You did. You were ready to buy gold bars. But that's the point. Temperament. Your psychological temperament under stress is actually more important than picking the right stock. If you freak out, you permanently destroy capital.
So if you don't have that iron stomach, what are you supposed to do? Just not invest?
No, you buy index funds. Seriously, something like SPY or SCHG. It's the S&P 500.
Right. So basically buying a tiny piece of the 500 biggest companies all at once.
Exactly. Because for most families, if you don't want to dig into quarterly financials, index funds are the best compounding machines out there. You don't have to manage them, you just hold.
Okay, but what if someone does want to build their own portfolio? Like in this $1.3 million model we're looking at, what's the actual strategy there? Because he's not just buying random stuff.
Far from it. The strategy is, and this is crucial, buying monopolies, or, shared monopolies, companies with extremely wide moats.
Moats. Like a castle.
Literally like a castle. A moat protects the castle from invaders. In business, it protects the company's profits from competitors. We're talking about companies that are deeply embedded in the system, like MasterCard, Sling P Global, Equifax.
Okay, Frank, no offense, but those sound like the most boring companies on earth.
They are, and that's exactly why they make so much money. Look at S&P Global or Equifax. They are data and credit companies. They don't make flashy products, but they are capital light, subscription-based, and highly profitable.
I mean, I guess every time we applied for a mortgage or a car loan, somebody was pulling our Equifax report. We didn't have a choice in the matter.
Right? That's the moat. You have to use them. And they can just continually raise prices because where else are you going to go? In this portfolio, MasterCard alone had $40,000 in gains, just sitting there quietly.
Wow, okay, 40 grand. So the boring stuff actually builds the strongest family defense.
It really does. It lowers the risk of losing money long term. But here's the catch. Even if you find a great company with a massive moat, it doesn't mean you should just buy it blindly.
Wait, why not? If it's a monopoly and it's making money, shouldn't you just keep throwing cash at it?
Because of the price, the Costco Rule.
The Costco Rule? Is that like buying stocks in bulk? Because
The Costco Rule? Is that like buying stocks in bulk? Because I do love a good Costco run.
No, not buying in bulk, though that would be fun. It's about knowing when to stop feeding the machine. So look at Costco, the stock in this guy's portfolio. It's an $82,000 position. Over half of that, like $47,000, is pure profit.
Okay, wow, that is amazing. So he just keeps buying more, right?
That's the thing. He hasn't bought a single share since July 2023.
Wait, if it's making that much money and it's an amazing company, why stop?
Because the valuation went up to like a 60 or 70 PE ratio. The price just got too expensive for the value it offered. It's like, imagine going to Costco to buy that famous rotisserie chicken.
The $5 chicken. It is a masterpiece.
Right, it's a masterpiece at $5. But if you walk in one day and they want, I don't know, $40 for that same chicken, are you buying it?
Absolutely not. I'd be furious.
Exactly. It's the same chicken, still great quality, but the price makes it a bad deal. In investing, you buy heavily when a great company is discounted, like he did with Google recently. But when a stock becomes overvalued, you stop buying.
But you don't sell it either.
No, you'd be very, very slow to sell. You just hold it. But you don't pour more family cash into it. And this is where most people, including us, mess up.
Ugh, I know where this is going. The FOMO trap.
Yep, people see a stock going up and up. Everyone is talking about it. Their neighbors are bragging about it. And they buy it at the absolute peak. They buy the $40 chicken.
I literally did that with that one EV stock. I saw it rallying, everyone online was saying it would never go down, and I panicked and bought it right before it crashed. My logic was impeccable.
The logic was, yeah, let's just say we learned a very expensive lesson. And it happens all the time. Look at Salesforce in his portfolio right now. It's one of the few he's actually in the red on.
Really? So even the pros lose money?
Of course, nobody has a 100% win rate, and that's why diversification is non-negotiable. You never, ever bet the whole family farm on one stock, no matter how good it looks.
Right. You don't put all the kids' college funds into one company. You need a safety net.
Exactly. You hold these high-quality, wide-moat companies, but you have to pay attention to the trends, because if you hold on to a company that's in a dying industry. Exactly. You hold these high-quality, wide-moat companies, but you also have to pay attention to the trends. Because if you hold on to a company that's in a dying industry...
It's just going to slowly bleed your money dry.
Right. And you see this happening right now in the media space. You know how Jimmy Kimmel's show got temporarily suspended recently?
Yeah, I saw something about that. There was a whole uproar about censorship and the FCC and freedom of speech. It was a mess.
It was a massive mess, and people are arguing from both sides. But honestly, if you look at it purely from a business perspective, from the Disney's point of view, the guys who own ABC, the real issue isn't just the politics, it's the economics.
What do you mean? It's Jimmy Kimmel. It's a massive network show.
It was massive. 10 years ago, Jimmy Kimmel Live had 4 times the viewership it has today. 4 times. Every single late-night show, Fallon, Colbert, their ratings are just dropping sequentially year after year.
Okay, wow. I didn't realize it was that bad.
It's terrible. And think about the overhead. They have huge studio sets in New York or LA, giant camera crews, writers' rooms, and they're paying these hosts tens of millions of dollars in salary. The production costs are astronomical.
And then, let me guess, then you have YouTube.
Bingo. YouTube is the giant disruptor. You have YouTubers sitting in their bedrooms or a small studio with like 3 employees getting 2 or 3 million views an episode.
Which is exactly what the networks wish they had.
Exactly. The efficiency is off the charts. YouTube ads and their premium subscriptions are growing at like 15% a year. So if you're Disney and you have this incredibly expensive employee who is suddenly causing a PR nightmare and making advertisers nervous...
You look at the dying ratings, you look at the headache, and you just pull the plug.
Right. It's a risk-reward calculation. And this applies directly to how we manage our family portfolio.
Because you don't want to invest in the equivalent of late-night television.
Exactly. You have to dodge the sunset industries. You want to invest in companies that have high operating leverage, meaning they can make more money without drastically increasing their costs. Things like AI, robotics, or incredibly efficient platforms.
Which makes sense. I mean, even for our kids, right? You want them studying fields that are growing, not fields that a guy with a webcam is already doing better and cheaper.
Absolutely. It's all about staying ahead of the curve. But speaking of staying ahead, we really need to talk about that LinkedIn post.
Oh my gosh, yes, the grandma tax strategy. I've been waiting for this. Because honestly, when I read it, I didn't know whether to be impressed or totally horrified.
It's definitely a gray area. So here's how this wealth manager pitched it. It's definitely a gray area. So here's how this wealth manager pitched it on LinkedIn. They call it Upstream Gifting.
Upstream, like passing money up the family tree?
Right. So imagine you bought NVIDIA stock years ago. You bought it at $300, and now it's worth, say, $30,000. Massive gains.
Which means if you sell it, the IRS is going to hit you with a massive capital gains tax.
Exactly. But you also have a 94-year-old grandmother. And according to this post, she is, and I quote, in poor health and likely has a month to live.
Oh my gosh, stop. Are they actually writing this down?
Yes, they wrote this on LinkedIn. So the strategy is you gift the $30,000 in NVIDIA stock to your grandma now, but you set up a transfer on death instruction, naming your son, her great-grandson, as the beneficiary.
Okay, wait, I need a second. So you give it to her just so she can hold it while she passes away?
Yes, because of a tax rule called the step-up in basis. When grandma passes, the stock transfers to your son, but the IRS wipes the capital gains history completely clean at the time of her death.
Wow.
So your son inherits the stock, he can sell it the very next day and pay literally zero capital gains tax, all $30,000 totally tax-free.
That is so dark. It's brilliant mathematically, but it is so incredibly dark. You are literally using your dying grandmother as a shell company.
It feels very conniving, right? The guy posting it was bragging like, while everyone focuses on stock prices, we focus on tax strategy. And sure, keeping what you earn is important, but
But there's a line. I mean, honestly, the only way I could ever see this being remotely okay is if your grandmother is like some fiercely anti-tax rebel who totally understands what's happening.
right? If grandma hates the IRS and she's like, yes, use my passing to stick it to the government and help my great-grandson, then fine.
Yeah, if she's signing off on it, great. But if she has no idea what you're doing and you're just shuffling paperwork over her hospital bed, that is terrible. It really just shows that family finance isn't just about spreadsheets and tax loopholes.
No, it's not. It's about ethics. It's about how we treat our families while we're building that wealth. You can build a compounding machine, you can have the wide moats, you can dodge the bad stocks.
But at the end of the day, if you lose your humanity over a tax break, it kind of defeats the whole purpose of building family wealth in the first place.
I genuinely couldn't have said it better myself.